変換するアーマメント
Isekai Cheat Magician. Regular high schooler Taiichi Nishimura and his childhood friend Rin Azuma are on their way to school one ordinary morning. Suddenly, a glowing light envelops them, transporting them to a fantasy world full of magical creatures. Upon their arrival, Taiichi and Rin are threatened by a beast. They are promptly saved by a group of adventurers who advise the pair that traveling unarmed and inexperienced makes them vulnerable to the recently increasing monster attacks. Taiichi and Rin are directed to the guild, where they can determine their magical aptitude and register as adventurers. However, the test they take reveals an unprecedented result. Taiichi and Rin possess extraordinary powers that far surpass the standard mage, instantly transforming them from typical high school students to the ultimate cheat magicians. Taiichi and Rin learn to grasp the full extent of their powers and familiarize themselves with their new world. However, while the duo seeks to uncover the reason behind their transportation and a possible way back to their original world, unexpected trouble lurks in the shadows.
How? In my world, we have this thing called believing in the heart of the cards. Ignore that.
Coming up at number 9, we have No Game, No Life. Sora has a crush on Shiro, even though they are siblings. Don't tell me you were expecting some mind-blowing plot from an isekai anime. Putting that aside, they both are hardcore gamers known by the name Blank. Blank is a name given to 4 legendary characters who dominate all games and are ranked number 1 in every game there is. They are so skilled that even hackers don't stand a chance against them. The story starts when they one day receive an anonymous mail from a self-proclaimed god who is the ruler of a world where everything is decided by games. They start living there and shock everyone with their extraordinary deductive skills. It's more of a psychological anime.
あなたはあの時の。やだ、もしかして。アスハの。アスハリートの。久しぶり。アスハリートも大きくなって。
Astarade no Omicha. The young succubus princess Astarade Yigvar hates men. She hates them so much, in fact, that she goes out of her way to surround herself with women, and ends up with quite a collection of ladies with quirky personalities. Unfortunately, her duties as a succubus require her to form a harem of men to replenish her magic. Astarade lives a fairly carefree life until the World Tree opens a path into another realm and swallows up one of her companions. Luckily, Astarade's friend returns unharmed, along with a handsome surprise. Naoya Tohara is a man, and a human one at that. He's perfect for becoming Astarade's first male companion, if she can get over her hatred of men and accept him into her life. Naoya decides to stay in Astarade's world to help her on her journey into adulthood under one condition. He wants to bring his daughter Asuha with him.
むしろ見てなかったらいつものノリなのか。あ、いや、俺は別に。
この人全然オラに興味ない。てめえ、矢の振るとはいい度胸だべな。
100 Man no Inochi no Ue ni Ora wa Tateru. Genres: action, game, drama, fantasy, shonen. Yotsuya Yusuke, along with his classmates Shindo Iyu and Hakozaki Kusue, have been transported to a strange and unknown world inhabited by mythological creatures. As soon as they arrive, they meet someone calling himself the Game Master, who then grants them a time-limited quest. To aid them in this quest, he also bestows Shindo and Hakozaki with the roles of a magician and a warrior, while Yotsuya is randomly granted the role of a farmer. This is how a hectic life of adventuring began for 3 students who now have no choice but to complete random quests for several phases in the fantasy world if they want to stay alive and protect the real world from the demons and monsters they encounter.
君の言っていることが俺にはよくわからない。
大丈夫です。
Saogiga TV. Long ago, there was a monk named Yue who could bring anything he drew to life. He quietly lived with his wife Kodo, a black rabbit in human form, and their 3 children, Yakashimaru, Kurama, and Yase. One day, the high priest of the land concluded that Mue's drawings caused too many problems for the locals and ordered him to find a solution. In response, the family secretly fled to an alternate world of Mue's own creation, the Looking Glass City. Everything was peaceful until Mue and Kodo suddenly vanished. Their 3 children are left to take care of the city, and Yakishimaru inherits Mue's name and duties. Stranded in this alternate world, their problems only get worse when a young girl, also named Kodo, crashes down from the sky and declares that she is also looking for the older Mue and Kodo. Armed with a giant hammer and 2 rowdy familiars, Kodo might just be the key to releasing everyone from this eternal paper city.
Number 5. Sword Art Online Progressive Movie, Hoshinaki Yoru no Aria. Genres: action, game, adventure, romance, fantasy. There's no way to beat this game. The only difference is when and where you die. 1 month has passed since Akihiko Kayaba's deadly game began, and the body count continues to rise. 2,000 players are already dead. Kirito and Asuna are 2 very different people, but they both desire to fight alone. Nonetheless, they find themselves drawn together to face challenges from both within and without. Given that the entire virtual world they now live in has been created as a death trap, the surviving players of Sword Art Online are starting to get desperate, and desperation makes them dangerous to loners like Kirito and Asuna. As it becomes clear that solitude equals suicide, will the 2 be able to overcome their differences to find the strength to believe in each other, and in doing so, survive? Sword Art Online Progressive is a new version of the Sword Art Online tale that starts at the beginning of Kirito and Asuna's epic adventure, on the very first level of the deadly world of Aincrad.
数値だけ見るともう敵なしに見えるけど、これでも魔王に届かないって。あら？前世と同じ顔だ。
Kumodesu ga Nanika. Genres: action, adventure, comedy, fantasy, mystery. The day is as normal as it can be in high school as the students peacefully go about their everyday activities until an unprecedented catastrophe strikes the school, killing every person in its wake. Guided by what seems to be a miracle, a handful of students are fortunate enough to be reincarnated into another world as nobles, princes, and other kinds of people with prestigious backgrounds. One girl, however, is not so lucky. Being reborn as a spider of the weakest kind, she immediately experiences the hardships of her dire situation. Even so, she must press on to survive the numerous threats that endanger her life. Discovering that her new world has a system like that of an RPG, she tries her best to hunt prey and defeat monsters to level up and evolve. As she gradually grows stronger, she hopes one day her efforts will be rewarded and that she will be granted a better life.
I'll be back, dude. So what do you want me to reflect on?
Coming up at number 3, we have Angel Beats. The story is set in a world where people can't die until they have regrets or unsatisfied arguments in this world. The story starts when our MC Yuzuru Otanashi, who happens to be an average guy with an average life, ends up in the afterlife. There he meets Yuri Nakamura, a a beautiful girl who is leading a rebellion against an unseen god, and she ends up inviting him to be part of her rebel squad Afterlife Battlefront. This gang is brimming with capable members, and I forgot to mention that cute innocent girl is their leader and is way more badass than any of them. She is one lolly you definitely don't want to mess with. Overall, anime has some of the best characters this genre has to offer, with breathtaking fight scenes and some hidden plots and secrets.
実の娘になんてことをするんだ。
マルティにはひどい虚言癖がありますので。
やめて、ママ。
Coming up at number 2, we have Rising of the Shield Hero. 4 heroes are summoned to a fantasy game-like realm. Everyone is equipped with a legendary weapon to fight off against the waves of catastrophe to protect the people of the world. Naofumi Iwatani, who happens to be our main character, is equipped with a shield, and because of that, everyone considers him useless as he lacks any offensive power. As if all that wasn't enough, our boy ends up getting betrayed in the first 10 minutes of the story and is accused of raping the princess of the nation. After all this, he decides to leave the nation alone and find some dependable allies along the way. Make no mistake, RMC is overpowered even with a shield and has 2 beautiful ladies by his side, with a 2nd season coming up this year. I personally recommend this one. Coming up at number 1 on our list, we have The King's Avatar. If you were looking for a badass male lead with a relaxed type attitude, then this entry is for you. Yizue is a godlike player in MMORPG glory and holds every record there is in the game. His character, One Autumn Leaf, is feared even among other professionals.